everybody. We're gonna just let a few more people join and we'll get started. Hope everyone had a great Father's Day weekend. Ready to get the week started with some easy recipes. Where is everyone tuning in from? I love seeing where everyone's jumping on from. It's always fun. Okay. All right. I think we'll get started. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Cooking Together by My Food and Family. This is an Instagram and Facebook Live series that is meant to, equip you with the tools and techniques that you need to conquer your kitchen. We are going to be sharing some amazing recipes, some tips and techniques, and always having a lot of fun. My name is Sarah. I am part of the Kraft-Heinz Culinary Team. And today and this week on Cooking Together, we are going to be sharing with you some really tasty and very, very easy pasta skillets. So today we're going to be making a chicken pasta skillet. You can see I'm already browning up some chicken here. And pasta skillets are so great because they really are, once you have sort of the formula down, it's really a blank canvas for whatever you want to add in. And we'll talk through some of those substitutions throughout this segment. Let's just go through what we're going to need for this recipe. Like I said, I already have some boneless, skinless chicken breast browning up here in my skillet. I have a green pepper. I have half of about a medium onion. This was kind of big. It calls for one small onion, but I couldn't find any small ones at the grocery store. We have some rotini pasta, which are kind of spirals, and some Classico tomato basil pasta sauce, and some low moisture part-skim Kraft mozzarella shredded cheese. So let's just get started here. I've already washed my hands. I'm going to finish cutting up our 1 pound of boneless, skinless chicken breast into bite-sized pieces. So probably about a 1/2 inch or so. But of course, do what you're most comfortable with. You could absolutely cut this into strips, but the nice thing about the bite-sized pieces is it's going to cook up really, really fast. So I started browning my chicken in my skillet here. I'm just going to add the rest of this and finish cooking it. I used a separate cutting board here for my chicken because I didn't want to get chicken on my wood cutting board. So I'm just going to wash my hands really quick before I cut my vegetables. So we're going to slice our green pepper into strips, and we're going to slice our onion into strips as well. So I said at the beginning that chicken or pasta skillets are really a simple kind of formula. So if you don't feel like chicken, ground beef could absolutely work in this. Ground chicken or ground turkey could also work really, really well. All right, I'm just going to cut my pepper. So if you remember when Lauren kind of went through sheet pan dinners, she talked through kind of a basic formula. So with pasta skillets, it's the same way. You got to choose your protein, choose a couple of vegetables, choose your pasta, choose the sauce that you're going to pull it all together with, and then choose your topping. And that could be cheese, that could be a crunchy topping like tortilla chips or French fried onions or something like that. But those are the basic kind of 5 things that you need to create a pasta skillet. I just cut off the cheeks on my green pepper. Of course, If you prefer different colored peppers, those would work really nicely too. This pasta skillet has kind of an Italian flair to it. You know, sausage would be really, really good in this. Also, Italian sausage, spicy or mild or sweet. I would probably do that with the peppers and onions. That would be really, really tasty. Okay. So we're just slicing up our green peppers. My chicken's been cooking for a few minutes here. We're going to be cooking kind of the ingredients in stages. So I'm going to add my green peppers and then I'll slice up my onion. So we talked about some of the variety of proteins that you could use. Let's talk through some of the variety of vegetables that you could use. Different colored peppers would be good. Different onions would be nice. You could also use zucchini squash. That would also be great. Green zucchini, yellow squash. Those things are in season right now, so those are awesome to use. So we are just going to let this cook for a few minutes. After we let this soften slightly, we're going to add about 1.5 cups of water and 2 cups of our rotini pasta. You could certainly use chicken broth if you prefer to cook your pasta in. That would just give it maybe a little bit more flavor. But water is just perfect, and we all have water on hand, so that's great. Let's talk about our different pastas that we could use. The reason that I really like the rotini pasta is because it can hold the sauce really nicely and it cooks up quite quickly. I think penne would work just fine. Bow tie pasta would also work great. You just want to pick something that's probably a shorter cut of pasta for something like this. I have made pasta skillets with a longer cut, but it's just easier to fit it all in your skillet if you have a shorter pasta. All right. I also love this because everything is going to cook in one pan. So, you know, if you want to amp up the veggies, you could absolutely make a pasta skillet with no meat. You could just replace some of the bulk kind of with more vegetables. So if you wanted to add another pepper to this, again, kind of almost like a ratatouille pasta dish, that would be absolutely delicious. All right, so I'm going to add 1.5 cups of water. This has been cooking for a little while. Sure, a little bit more. All right, so I'm going to add my water. And I'm cooking all of this over medium to medium-high heat. So again, it's going to come together really, really quickly. Let this come to a boil, and I will measure out a couple cups of my pasta. So nice to keep your pasta in containers like this because it's just easy to measure, it's easy to seal, it's great. So I'm going to add in 1 cup and getting away from me. A little extra won't hurt. And then we will just toss so that, you know, the pasta doesn't necessarily have to be totally submerged. It's really going to, it's all going to cook together and absorb the water, moisture from the vegetables as well. We're going to cover it and let it simmer for 10-15 minutes or so. So this is going to come up to a boil, and then we will cover it. Let me grab my cup holders. I'm gonna move this to the back counter. And I actually have one that I made earlier. So you can see here, hopefully you can see, the pasta has hydrated so nicely. The vegetables are all softened, our chicken is completely cooked. And to finish this off, all we have to do is toss it with some of our classico pasta sauce. All right, so this is kind of the fourth component to our pasta dishes, our pasta skillets. And what could you choose for your sauces? Pasta sauce would be great. Any of our classico varieties would work if you want to add a little bit of spice. One of our spicy marinara sauces. Anything would really work. So whatever you have on hand. I'm just going to measure this out. All right. And then we'll just toss it in. And we're just going to let this heat up. And the heat of the pasta and vegetables and everything is just going to warm this through really quickly. If you wanted to do more of like a southwestern flavor, you could do chicken with bell peppers and onions with salsa and one of our shredded cheese blends. That would be delicious as well. If you prefer maybe a creamier pasta, our classico Alfredo would be delicious. Again, almost like a chicken Alfredo. You do that with zucchini, it'd be awesome. All right, so I tossed in my classico. It's just heating up. This is looking great. Kind of wish I was doing this segment during dinner time, but I think that my family is going to enjoy a little bit of this for lunch. I'm just gonna measure out a little bit of cheese. And all we're gonna do is just sprinkle our cheese right on top. Pesto would also be a great sauce to use. You really can't go wrong. I mean, it's pretty hard to mess this up. And that's what I like about it. Sort of foolproof. I'm just gonna cover this, let it melt. My knob here is kind of coming off. And we're just gonna let this melt, and within just a few minutes, it's all gonna come together and warm through. This is such an easy recipe to pull together on a weeknight. It's a great Monday night meal because I guarantee you have a lot of these things in your pantry already, and it's kind of a mix and match, you know, pick whatever you have, pull it together, and I guarantee you that you will have a great meal ahead of you. Let's talk about toppings real quick. I told you that, you know, we were using mozzarella cheese here, but you could absolutely use, if you were doing more of a southwestern one, like corn chips or tortilla chips would add great crunch. You could definitely add fresh herbs. You know, really anything goes with this, and that's what I love about pasta skillets. So just remember, choose your protein, choose a couple vegetables, pick your pasta, add your water, your sauce, and your topping, and you will be good to go. I'm actually going to see if we have any questions from folks that tuned in, because we're pretty much done. I bet you can't believe that it came together that quickly. Let me take this off and see. Okay. Let's see, do we have any questions? So there is a question about how to choose what vegetables you use. So one rule of thumb I would just choose is, or think about, is choosing vegetables that cook at similar temperature, or similar times, and also cutting them into similar sizes so they cook around at the same rate. So probably wouldn't choose something super hard like a carrot. I would choose maybe softer vegetables. So zucchini, yellow squash, bell peppers, onions. I would add corn to this, black beans, peas, green beans would also be good. So those are just a few options. Okay. We used one small onion. I would say it was probably about 3/4 of a cup of sliced onions. We have a question about what kind of meat. I used boneless, skinless chicken breast, and I cut it into 1/2-inch pieces. And we used 1.5 cups of water and 1.5 cups of pasta sauce. Let's see. There's a question about substituting the pasta for a different lentil or alternative kind of bean pasta. I've seen those on the grocery store shelves. You could certainly try. I know that sometimes those pastas have you rinse the pasta after you cook it, or boil it. So you might I worry that it could be a little bit gummy, but you can definitely give it a try. We have not tested it. But there are some alternative pastas that cook up really similarly to regular wheat pasta. So, if those work for you, those would be great options. I've used those myself at home. You know what else would be, we have another question here about if I could use ham. Ham would be awesome. Just thinking about what would be like a good combination. So your protein could be ham. Your couple of vegetables could be peas and green beans. You could have a rotini pasta or bow tie pasta. You could pull it together with Alfredo sauce and top it with some grated Kraft Parmesan cheese. And that would just be such a perfect spring, summer, creamy dinner. I think that would be just an awesome idea. We have a question about elbow noodles. Elbow noodles would absolutely work. That would be awesome really for anything that you're doing, but especially if you were doing something that was sort of like a cheeseburger skillet, cheeseburger pasta skillets, if you did ground beef or ground turkey, and then maybe added some flavorings like ketchup and mustard. You could add in your elbow macaroni and cheese sauce or something like that. That would be so good. So good. Definitely made that one at home. Elbows would work great for a taco skillet too, if you did kind of a taco seasoned pasta skillet. I think that would be awesome. All right. We do have a question about where I got my containers. I got my containers on Amazon. You can order them. I love them. They're airtight, so they just pop up like this, and they come in lots of different sizes. Easy to find. I would say this recipe is absolutely under 30 minutes, start to finish. There is, some hands-off time, but for the most part, it comes together really quickly, especially if your vegetables and things like that, and your meat is cut into small enough pieces. Everything is going to just cook up so quick. I guarantee you'll have dinner on the table in less than 30 minutes. Just see if we have any more questions. All right. Well, I think that we are all set for today. I hope you all have a wonderful week. And I hope that you give this recipe or any of the recipes that, or any of the ideas that I offered today a try in the near future. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, let's all keep cooking together. Thanks so much. Bye.